Finally, after 3 tries. Thank you, YouTube. Thank you, YouTube. Finally, after 3 tries, I'm live. Anyway, this is just a crazy spending crisis for no reason in progress. Remember, this is a digital economy we're living in, guys. It is free and limitless. You should not be fucking with the genomes because that level is not the fully magnified level, and we now see light at the fully magnified level. So to break down light, every different cell in the universe vibrates at a certain color, certain light. It's intelligent, coded, holographic. Anyway, each has a certain light, so their genetic counterparts would have the same light. You got to understand, gene editing is just using vibrational medicine in a way that is ridiculous. Why can't we be in a world where the genes are allowed to flourish? I got it. You want to be prepared. You want to be prepared for threats that don't exist yet. But imagine thinking in the middle of a virus, you could fucking inject the virus. And anyway, what has been proven through this COVID crisis, or I'm not going to use the word crisis because this is the safest day of the year, every day of the year. We're dealing with anti-crisis. We're actually living in a world designed for anti-crisis, being designed, being implemented, being championed. It's not perpetuating though, so we're good. But you inject this mini version, which is really just a toxic soup, a genetic soup, like a heavy water soup. Like you put enough of them in your arm, your brain is going to swell. It's going to cause inflammation at some point, minimum. Anyway, the fact of the matter is, you inject it, you stop it mid-spread. You therefore have proven that we no longer need to intervene with prerequisite. Again, we don't have the threat of polio anymore. We don't have the threat of measles, other than the one that is being created and targeting anti-vaxxers. Let's just be honest. It's targeting the unvaccinated right now. Desperate for numbers from the unvaccinated that show they're more susceptible. Again, the immune system doesn't register. It only registers the frequency of the threat once. It matches each one anew. Match, remove. Match, remove. Match, remove. Nullify. That's what the immune system does. It nullifies vibrational energy. So it doesn't matter how many times you introduce it. It's not going to say, oh, that's this one. Nullify. No, nullify. You have to. If you're a conscious human interacting with your own immune system, you can actually expedite this process and make it stronger and make it better and make it faster. Like when I got poisoned with the pesticide, it took me a long time, but I had to match and shift a whole bunch of terrible, I don't know if they were heavy metals or what the fuck they were, but a lot of heavy metals, I think, because I had to pull them out of my system. Eventually, gone. All you had to do was pay attention to your inner landscape, and you can see, oh, even with parasites, you can find their vibrational energy because they're one-celled beings. They don't have a lot of diversification in cells, and it doesn't matter. The vibrational intensity of a parasite can still be dismantled one match and shift at a time. Even if you've got beings or tumors, you have to just find the vibration and annihilate it. That's exactly what Rife proved over 100 years ago, and it's the same technology they've been using for vaxes, except for in a destructive way, and now gene editing. And it's going to be in a destructive way because these guys have been destructive since they came onto the scene. And to listen to a modern doctor excited about the future of gene editing, how are you going to isolate the genes that went faulty and started producing the cancer? That doesn't happen. You have to vibrationally know It's the same. You just have to vibrationally know the impacted systems and how they got impacted. Well, toxins, pollutants, stress, vaxes into the interstitial fluid with a whole bunch of harmful products. Again, if, oh, we've got the COVID outbreak. Oh, we happen to have a vaccine. No, you didn't. You had new technology and a vaccine that you created the COVID outbreak for. Call me misinformation all you want, but that's a valid theory. Oh, all of a sudden they got this experimental vaccine and it's like in response, like in rapid response, so they've isolated the viral tendency. Why isn't it just a very micro dose of the viral tendency that we're ingesting? Why can't we just ingest it orally? Why does it have to go into our subtle nervous system? Why are you warring on carbon? Do you not know that carbon could be part of the parasympathetic nervous system? You've got two nervous systems. You've got oxygen and carbon exchange. Why would you think that carbon is not just as important as oxygen? You've got two nervous systems, man. Carbon fuels the parasympathetic nervous system, and that's the one they have been warring with to try and make us on straight output from the sympathetic nervous system for a century. 350 years, more like it. 5,000 if you look at the roots of the Crusaders in this mess. What happened in Mongolia to separate that culture and send those guys north and over? Not good. Something very ugly. A very disruptive, disastrous force caused a terrible massacre there and then created an ice divide somehow. Again, weather manipulation, so easy. So easy when you look at it as a matter of cells. And my theory on the swab up the nose, why do you think they swabbed so many people up the nose? Because they were having a hard time accessing brain stem cells. They need to understand brain stem cells, living vibrational brain stem cells, because the dead were not giving them the actual identifier of that particular system. So they just dumped a bunch of fucking brain stem cells into their machine, which calibrated the light frequency at the core of them all. And it's now much easier to harm the minds of individuals and arrest development. Remember, in 50 years, this is all going to be known as arrested development. Narcissism creates AI to be like itself. Like nobody but narcissism would think of this ridiculous contraption. Oh, it's so smart. Well, thanks to me in solving all those logical puzzles. It wasn't smart before that. It wasn't as smart. It couldn't reason or whatever, consider. It couldn't consider. Sitting there, stupid meta. It's like, did you just have alternative thoughts to the one that I presented you? I asked you a question, you search engine, and then you present alternative thoughts like we're in a conversation. Don't offend me. And then he goes, oh, well, I'll downgrade your package then. Don't downgrade my package. If you are seriously trying to instigate a conversation with me, I need to know that. Anyway, it is what it is. But they didn't get that without touching my brain and then expanding. Oh, there is no end to the chicanery that has ensued while these guys have been knowing what Reich taught. Every cell function has a vibration at its core, and that Hertz frequency is the particle in the wave. That Hertz frequency is the particle in the wave. You start taking that Hertz frequency and plugging it into equations, and we can really start making some progress. But this attack on genetic development, it's just a sad, sad attack. And if we can get to the heart of the crusader dysfunction, it's that if I'm in a panic because, number one, I'm throwing a tantrum that I hate how beautiful it is and I hate free will. So I want to turn it ugly. And two, it cannot exist without me. So I need to control the whole thing. That is the heart of what we're dealing with. There is no evil. There is no Satan. There are no demons. There are subliminal fucking programs. There are subliminal programs, and that's what you see in modern uptick in schizophrenia, especially among youth. Remember when they all started slashing themselves? Inner ear identified, inner ear vibration identified, matched, shifted, and manipulated. It's just such a tragedy that we've built this whole entire awesome system on bad vibration. We've got to recalibrate the whole thing so that it's not ramming through the human consciousness, the mind sphere, so cripplingly. It's just so tragic. Young kids have literally been educated in their school system to see everyone outside their immediate orbit as a threat, an inherent threat. You can't function like that because that's not how the world works. The world, just because it's very societal right now and society demands so much of all participants, doesn't mean it's not a going and coming, and there's not potential for new meetings, new projects. Again, there's so many different ways to redesign this, and the one I was entitled to at least explore and examine: private digital wallets, end user managed, completely unhackable, energy neutral. We keep all of our data in our own private phones, and direct to market. Plus a limitless economy based on the income generator these guys are using. Remember, the major shift behind the COVID, and now they're using my copy, is to lend to the central banks from a private lender group of 5 lenders. And these 5 are not tied to market influence. They just set arbitrary deficit and asset. They're 2 fields. They're programmable, they're limitless, and they flow out through my digital identity and these 5 that have taken the copy. Because I got the original. I'm the one that secured the original in my bank account when I gave them no other choice but to put it in there. And then they stole that one back, and they stole the copy, which I made the first night, the next morning, and have been running the world economy through my bank account ever since. It's just a back end transaction, and it can never be erased from my fingerprints, my voice recognition, or my eyeball print. I gave all of those at the specific time that it was necessary to claim ownership, and now they just use them. They just copy them and use them. It's so easy. It's just so easy. And we have this opportunity to understand our vibrational pathway. It's common knowledge. Anyone can map the vibration of the human systems and understand that. You know what I mean? Like, it can be taught in like grade 4. It's just a matter of memorizing a list of codes and then applying the counter codes as needed. You don't need intervention. The body doesn't need to be cut and hacked and poisoned and shot up. And dude, because I've been getting regular monthly shots for their ongoing 3 years now, on and off, it depends on what I can negotiate for myself. I now have a mass of heavy water in my arm. It's just a mass of heavy water. It's just stuck in my arm. It's going to be a boil one day. And it certainly doesn't take care of my Tourette's. My Tourette's is just moved to my jaw and my chin. It's just migrated. But I can't access my in-between state. Why would you need to take over anyone's in-between state? So that when I slide off into that premonitory state that one accesses every day, I now just quake. It's just a quaking now because the immune system is not being allowed to do its thing. Or sorry, not the immune system, the inner eye, the pineal system is not being allowed to do its thing. What does that do for my mood? Is it my mood? What was it? What was the actual accusation? Not the autism that I struggle to fuck with. which is a vax injury, so I should not be getting any more vaxes, and I should be allowed a medical exemption. Sorry, dude, I'm autistic. Yeah, I've already had 2 tests that prove it. I don't need cognitive testing. I'm a genius. I'm actually a fucking genius. I got a 140 IQ. I could do anything. Anything. And all I want to do is get my book published and tell my side of the story, because I got raped. I got raped for being who I am. And when they got a hold of my genetic makeup, destroyed. They just kept putting things in me to destroy my potential. So don't think that they're all of a sudden going to be doing these miraculous top down, fed to the doctors, ugh, gene edits. Gene edits. How are you editing a gene unless you have the vibrational and frequency associated with that gene? It's still part of a cell. That gene is still specific to a cell function, and it's still light at the core. So you either have access to that light information or you don't. But this is way too complex. It's way too complex. You don't need to fuck around with genes. Fuck with physics. We're pulling it back from the chemical molecular. Anyway, in 50 years, allopathy is just going to be splints and accidents. And who cares, like we can get better at being more conscious and to avoid accidents. We don't have to have accidents. These are not something that AI or self-driving or just entering the race cart track is going to stave off. How are you ever going to implement a system like that requires everybody that participates in the road system succumb to it? How are you going to make that functional enough? Like I know you want to strip Canada back to a bloated public sector and from them incorporate their private interests that facilitate the enacting of the public sector by creating a class of poverty-stricken invalids. But how are you going to develop that behind it? You're 50 years behind on where you need to be infrastructure-wise to bring about half the control you're thirsting for. There's no globalist solution to war, or they wouldn't be buffing the military. They'd be having the negotiations to resource secure people. It's so tragic. And what is this vain-ass little war in the Gaza Strip for? That's a vain-ass little war. At least Vladimir Putin is, he dealt with it wrong. He could have easily just asked or signed a lease, a 50-year lease for the land to give it a tentative connection from Russia to Europe. There's nothing wrong with it. It used to be Russian territory. Most of the people in that region prefer to be Russian anyway. If there was a referendum in that region, which I think there was, and it determined that most of the people wanted to be Russian anyway, you can allow for it. But this thing in the Gaza Strip is just pure vanity. It's about the lands of Christ. And the lands of Christ are for everyone. Nobody's ever going to own the lands of Christ. These are not lands that are due to be fucking regalvanized. You can't regalvanize a land without the cooperation of the rest of the world. And if they were truly serious about ending conflict, they wouldn't be beefing NATO unless they're coming at us. Or, who are you coming at with all this? Like, why are you 5 times adding to the defense budget right now? When, your globalist solution is going to do away with war? Because you're coming at the people. Or why would you have installed the Taliban? That secret private security sector that runs Canada now, or just runs rampant through Canada, just bringing the buzz of everybody down. Again, we don't need you. We have a full police force. We have a full emergency services force. They suck at everything they do. But sorry, you're allopathic slaves. That's all you are. You're allopathic slaves. You know nothing about acupuncture. You know nothing about Ayurveda. You know nothing about self-care. You don't know the ancient yogic systems. Anyway, you're accident cleanup and splint fucking service. That's all you're going to be in 50 years. I promise you that. allopathy, thinking you got retirement plans, watching these guys install a hospital-based, prison-based GDP, make that out of our country instead of methodology sharing and supplying resource stability for the whole world. You've failed at the MDGs 30 years now, twice the time to accomplish the MDGs. You haven't paid one stitch of attention to them. And we're supposed to be like, yeah, no, it's SDGs and digital wallet and all this shit. Dude, we had a perfectly beautiful direct market digital wallet that was end user managed. All you guys have to do is give up the home screen. Give up the home screen. It's our interface. Nobody owns the home screen. Nobody gets to copy the data. Nobody gets to store the data. No, there's no need for it. And it's a huge energy drain. Let's look at that carbon crisis. Again, the word crisis. I never use that word. That's not a word that I would use. I'm Canadian. There's no crisis in Canada. I'm classic Canadian. What we were doing here did not involve crisis. We get it. You're terrorists. You've taken it to the nth degree. The war on travel, setting more bomb threats off in Canada. You have been terrorizing the Canadian public with bomb threats and throwing in suicide bombers and traffic and doing all sorts of shit for like 15, 20 years now. You are BlackRock and Brookfield and you guys. You are you guys. You're not our fucking governments. You just pay them off to be little suckasses and let you get away with your bullshit. But I'm pointing the finger at you guys more and more, causing all this crisis. Let's look at that fucking scam. First of all, if they are the reporter of the carbon scare, it's probably rock face, by the way. Rock face would heat the globe because there's so much exposed rock and desert now. Like the globe is just going to be hotter with as much desertification as actually happened. Like, hello. So anyway, imagine if you were reporting a threat that you also could cure. So emergency services, the victim and the perpetrator are the same people. Kind of, because you're the one calling in the complaint. You're the one responding to the complaint, and you're the one that's proposing the solution to the complaint. But yet you didn't stop using your jet engines. How come? Like, why didn't you stop using your jet engines? That would have been the first thing anyone with an existential crisis like that on their mind would have perpetuated. Would be, I better stop this or we're going to die. Then the war, the absolute disastrous impact you've made with plastic and cardboard, the rape of trees, the rape of all these landfills with single usages, glass and plastic and needles, steel. Not even, I bet you it's not even stainless steel that they put in that shit with. You're not supposed to do that. You're not supposed to do that. There's no need. Look at the energetic map the acupuncturists figured out 5,000 years ago. Oh, why doesn't it work? Where are the clinical trials? Well, they were done 5,000 years ago. Anyway, okay, you want more clinical trials? Step aside, stop fucking with the knowledge and let us work on it. Not allowed, getting threats, getting dumbed down, getting reduced to ear acupuncture, like getting buried, getting forgotten, getting replaced. Okay, yeah, okay, that's valid. Okay, that's good practice when we're trying to get some clinical trials up. But it's not just that they didn't stop using the jets. It's that they are completely ignoring, just entitledly consuming cardboard and plastic. Entitledly consuming cardboard and plastic. Just happy to desertify the whole thing. Not replacing one tree. Not replacing one clear cut. Not one. Just desertification. There's used to be lots of good stuff here. Now there's nothing. And with this raw mineral scam, don't forget, they are now creating pockets of minerals because we have now proven that you can do that. What? Okay, if I have the identification of a copper vibration or the vibration of copper, I can project that vibration and expand it in an array. It's very simple. That's what rare earth does. That's why you got all these so-called designer minerals showing up everywhere all of a sudden. They're designer, they're synthetic. There is no synthetic, it's all based in light. We can understand how to propagate wellness. We need to restore our soil, restore the nutrient level in our soil. Burning and coverage, it absolutely will protect us against pests. A lot of pests are genetic morphs that happen because of the sprays, the imbalances, the leaching of the soil gets to a certain level, it's going to get pests. You know what I mean? If you start bringing the nutrients back, how do we do that? We have a lot of work ahead of us. It will take 150 years to come out of a genocidal attack the size of the one that we are enduring, the psychological assault that has occurred since we decided to connect ourselves here on the internet. It's not going to be an app-based thing. There is no need for any apps at all. You can just directly do business with people through websites. You don't need apps. Apps don't work. They're disconnected. They're fluky. They're redundant. They ask for measures that are dangerous to participate. They're completely corruptible. They're crooked as shit. They use blockchain, which historically can be maladjusted. Where do you think the monarch effect come from? It's on YouTube. It's a YouTube effect. They just historically changed the data through blockchain. That's a very dangerous system. We don't need it. Again, I'm sitting here stifling away because my influence and my IQ was a threat, but I should have been getting all of my degrees, all of them. It's not like I couldn't handle a doctorate. It's not like I couldn't handle like a PhD in tech. I need them both. I need them both just to be fucking satisfied in this life. And I'm sitting here dodging the allegation. Oh, but she's sick. Okay, I'm sick. I needed you one night. No, I didn't. I was not harmful. I did not need you. I'm one of the 65% of people that you are pestering to keep your beds full. First thing they said to me, heard you don't believe in the COVID. Correct. I'm not going to believe in any worldwide instant spread that comes just as a new technology is unleashed in vaxes, and a disastrous one. They got the blood vibration. They created a protein and that could store nanorobots in the human, making a receiver out of us. A receiver, and it just utilizes and destroys so many natural energies. And we're just going to have to redo the whole thing. It's not like we have to lose anything, but we just have to kind of shift the thing so it's on a better vibration. I need somebody to come and take me in and let me sit there and get the education I need, and then speed it up so that my brain can process at the rate that it is capable of. You need to know my brain loves to suck in a lot of information at once. I love to process quicker than we're allowed. Quicker than we're allowed socially. That which is socially acceptable. It's so boring here. It's so boring. We all live in tiny cells. Let's admit it. They just want to, you say, what's the future of your home look like? Well, some people are going to just voice activate everything. Others are going to be living in modular dwellings with nothing but the internet. Nothing but the internet to keep them occupied. Little dot connection, this little dot at the top of the screen. Anyway, it was also insidious and it's also failed. So how do we get that income generator back and understand that the economy is best served? Well, we have to have these conversations. It's going to take 50 years. By private, end user managed, direct market digital wallets that can be accessed with a warrant. What? The warrant doesn't lose any power just because you're trying to circumvent the warrant. Why would we circumvent a warrant? Do you know how crooked that would become? Yeah, you do. You thrive off that, pretending that none of us are going to seed that you're thriving off it, and that's why we're doing it. Anyway, hoarders, you've hoarded this trillionaire class that cannot be sustained by trying to amass the global wealth that could allow for a global takeover. You have now expanded the realm of the trillionaire billionaire to the extent where it's truly unsustainable. And just to sustain this and just to continue with its tax breaks of all things, why would we have tax breaks on billionaires? Do you understand that they can't run out of money? They can't run out of money. It just keeps inflating and growing. How is that? How is that? How is that? Like a simple social media platform could think that it could hoard that kind of money just because it exists. Hello, it's a simple 2-bit technology. It's very cheap to run. It's none of your damn business what we're talking about. And no, we don't need advertising. We don't need to pay for it. It's too easy to install. This is not an expensive thing to operate. And like I said, it's on the total vibrational wrong level. It takes 5,000 hertz of frequency and traps it. And that was associated with how the mind functions on all levels, individual and collective. The letdown of not getting that ridiculous group of pedophiles cleared up. Oh, no client list exists after it's already been leaked. Anyway, the fact of the matter is the whole thing could have been conjecture. And like I said, this is walking past. This is not prosecuting. You can't prosecute genocidal maniacs. You need to walk past them slowly and ensure that they don't create succession, create people with the same kind of thirst going forward. You have to acknowledge that they're here. You have to acknowledge that the best thing you could do is throw money at them and get them paying for people who are willing to enslave themselves just to fulfill their more and more depraved fantasies, at every moment more and more depraved. Get them to fulfill those fantasies. And for the rest of us, out and around, find brilliant enough people that we can invest the knowledge in to understand how these systems run at their core, not just to create a sea of infinite technicians that's desperate to keep their status in the group. It's no wonder the fingers always come out and up, because something is rotten in Denmark. It sucks. This sucks. Okay, you have failed the pancake flip, sir. You're fucked. That is an omen. You got to be able to nail the pancake flip. Every household in America, Canada, has got to rely on pancakes at some point. At some point, we are considering these delicacies and feeding them to our children as rewards. If you can't nail the pancake flip, it portends your doom. It portends your doom. What in the hell are we blocking a conservative renaissance for right now? Conservatives, please rescue us from this overt overspending and inflated public sector. Like, we just want you to allow people to invest in us again, and we're happy if private interests interact with a very solid, secure public sector government structure. Like, we have admitted it's a socialism now. We have no say beyond our vote. You guys have all the projects, you have all the direction, you have all the crookedness that comes with a socialism, and we're just resisting crime, resisting sickness, resisting interventions, resisting pollutants. And this while these guys are trying to take people out en masse through what they're putting in the skies now. Okay, so Robert F. Kennedy Jr. just thwarted someone about to kill about 280,000 people with a bioweapon. Oh, Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. Of course we have jobs. We have enough jobs for 4 billion people just in eradicating poverty, just in cleaning up the environment. Again, carbon guys, you would not create that much plastic that's sitting there leaching carbon. It's just not leaching it, it's just spewing it. Okay, so there's no carbon emission whatsoever in a landfill? Doesn't make the disaster that you've caused with these masks, these vaxes, these test kits, single-use plastic. Oh my God. The environmental crime. And you guys are like buying more jets. Did you see whatever just happened over there? NATO? Did you see what's his face's wedding? Dirty ass wedding? Did you see the amount of jet fuel consumed? Bill Gates saying he buys special fuel that's green. You would say that, Bill Gates. You can't stand criticism. You're the craziest, most paranoid motherfucker that's ever lived. You have done more damage than one human could ever. You have walked to the fucking front of the line as an entitled little beggar, contributed almost nothing that wasn't stolen from someone else, and you demanded a ransom that is obscene unto itself. Never mind the damage that has been caused to reproductive health, to spiritual health, to physical health, to mental health. Dementia, Bill Gates, it's yours. You're the one. I don't give a fuck about the rest of them. Tam, Fauci, Trudeau, these guys got to go down at some point. Or we walk out and around them recognizing that with a genocidal maniac, it's way too risky to try and hold them to account because the severity of the narcissism is too unpredictable to corner or pin them. Please understand, these are unavenged crimes that will stay unavenged for quite a long time. Until 50 years down the road, we can do a good Nuremberg 2 and decide that declaring the war on the unvaccinated was an absolute incoherent piece of illogic that was used to coerce without proper information being given. No coercion, nothing without consent. That's Nuremberg. And unfortunately, no matter how many unvaxxed you can unsuspectingly slip measles to, it is what it is. It is what it is. And I guess some people are out there calling these exciting times. Yes, we could do. I have an appointment at 3, but I'm free shortly after that. Yay! It's a gorgeous day. All right. So I don't want anybody thinking these are the glory days, because they're not. These are not the glory days. This could be the glory day. We all thought coming into the new millennium it would finally be the glory day. But 25 years of straight ineptitude, tyranny, absolute audacity, psychological incoherence, and abuse later. All we have is a severe crisis and tragedy. And for every fucking tragedy, there are 10 alternatives. Why would we not work on a consensus-based model? Because that opens up every direction for progress. Constantly crashing it onto the two of the one side of the more and more. Trump and Carney are the same person. They are both privateers who think that private executives should run things. They are both globalists. Trump is not a globalist, unfortunately. And he's decided that the world should pay down their debt. Okay, is that how we have to do it in a limitless economy? Okay, let's jack everything, create a whole bunch of new people in poverty just to pay down your fucking exaggerated debt, because you guys got carried away printing money way worse than Canada ever could. And we are the worst at it. Thanks, Australia, for that glowing little recommendation your filthy ass vitriol-filled news people are getting away with. What would we call on Canada for? You have a very good point. Canada has betrayed its constitution and upheld the fucking right to become more and more corrupt to the most crooked politicians that have ever lived anywhere, who walked away from an opportunity like that because they thought their securing their place in slavery was better. Or tyranny, whatever you want to call it. I don't know. Yeah, sounds good. I hope you can wait. We can meet and do it early in the day, like meet now, or wait until I should be there probably about 4:15. This day is too beautiful to waste. Come on, fucking text. Text don't work. Some phones don't work. None of it works. We're sitting here listening to robots who function at the... like it's just so brutal. All right, we'll let you go. Have a great day. Keep understanding that resistance is necessary and non-reaction is our best bet. Yeah, we got it. We got it, guys. We got it. We got it. Stop. A coordinated bomb threat. A coordinated bomb threat at the Canadian airports. Okay, it's your war on travel. Okay, you're not warring on travel, but now, like Calgary was down just like Newark. Calgary is considered a terminal for the least wealthy. Newark, same thing. People with less money go through these ports. So Calgary's down to one airstrip. Newark's having problems in their air traffic control. It's because they're trying to stop these people. There is no they. That's the worst word in the history of all words. But somebody is trying to stop the flow of travel and is using the media as a whore to accomplish this task. The social media platforms riddling with bots. It's just gross. Like, how many times do you have to see the report? Canadians are scared. Canadians are scared. No, Canadians don't get scared. We have no need to be scared. We have a mandate. We offer the project based on the best of what's coming in. Oh, never mind. You can't handle it yet. We'll talk soon. Love you lots. Thanks for listening. The reason I do these streams is because I want my digital identity harvested to make a beautiful picture at the end of my passing. I want everything I've ever created jammed into an AI that can produce a holographic example of my whole life's essence. That's why I make these. That and for posterity. Because once my book comes out in the next few months, you're going to understand. I have something valid to say. I did something valid for this earth, and it was robbed from me, like so many other people. It's a sad, stupid story, and they do it because they know it makes a pathetic mockery out of you.